Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Mr. James Brezhny. I'm the director of Oxford Orchestras here. I wrote my notes tonight, this evening, because I want to make sure I get everything. And I'm playing that recital right after, so I'm just like being very careful I don't leave anything off. Thank you for being here. This is a celebration of our beginning strings orchestra class on stage, and we're going to play a bunch of beautiful traditional folk tunes and some sort of contemporary orchestra ensemble pieces later on. I'm so happy to be here tonight to celebrate the end of this year. The first year or two of learning orchestra, I think, can be the most difficult in a person's journey of learning these string instruments. With the piano, it's a very nice instrument, just like all of them, and all you have to do is just touch it with a finger and it makes a nice sound, like a pleasant sound. With our string instruments, there's a lot of specific details and technique that goes into producing that really nice and pleasing and beautiful melodious sound. So we start the year with learning our bow holds and even how to sit properly in a chair in a way that will make it easier for us to play and to sound as well as musicians. And there's so many details that go into it, and I'm super happy and proud of everybody's work throughout the year. These beginning years pay off so much in the long run, and the opportunities and activities and events just grow as our students continue on in the program. This is a lot of, most of the people on stage are sixth graders, but all of them are middle school students. And our orchestra program works in a way and functions in a way where as you get deeper into the program, there's more events, there's more opportunities, there's more doors that open up. So you establish the fundamentals, you get comfortable, and as every year you get more comfortable on your instrument, and eventually you can start doing things like playing at summer festivals, summer camps. You can play in youth orchestras around the area. You can take part in music trips. You can, right here at Oxford Middle School, in the middle school program, we have fiddle club and honors orchestra in 7th and 8th grade. There's solo ensemble. There's all these things that just, all these doors that open up. So anyways, we're going to start off the concert here with a couple folk tunes. You might be familiar with some of these. We're going to kind of play them in a row here. And thank you once again for coming. Okay, before our next piece, I just wanted to say a couple things about it. This next piece is Westward Journey, and it's a great representation of a piece that students can play next year when they're in 7th grade for an event that's called Solo Ensemble. And I really like to add it to our concert list and program at the end of the first year so that students can get a little bit of a glimpse of feeling of how that process might work. If solo ensemble is new to you, there's a lot of families in Michigan where parents played instruments when they were in middle school or high school even, and they might remember solo ensemble from those days. But if it is new to you, it is something that begins in 7th grade. That's the first year that you can participate, and you can continue to participate all the way throughout high school. And in the high school version of solo ensemble, there's some extra awards and extra basically recognitions and things like that that are a part of it. In middle school, there's also rewards. And basically what happens is it's an event that's held once a year. For middle school, it's held in the wintertime, right before, I think usually it's the first Saturday of December. And for high school, they have it in the end of January. So basically what happens is at the beginning of the year, students will pick a solo piece or a couple of solo pieces to fit a required amount of time. And they work on that solo piece, and that piece of music is just for them. It's not something that necessarily the orchestra will work on as a group. And so it's something extra on the side that students can go for. And they prepare it and they work on it, and their teacher, myself in this case, I help them after school when there's time and when needed. And we get them really prepared so they feel comfortable. And then at the end of the process, when the date comes for the event, they go to a high school and they play for a judge, an adjudicator, who gives them a rating and gives them a score, and also, as a part of it, which I think is really neat, doesn't just slap a score on the page and hand some kind of reward to the students. They take time to, within the 10-minute, 12-minute time period the students have to play for the judge talks to them and gives them feedback and tells them some ways to grow on their instrument and as musicians. So it's a really favorable thing to do and a really great thing to do. So I strongly encourage students to go for it. The reason why I'm spending time on this is because 7th grade, like, this happens, sign up happens right at the beginning of the year. And so if it's something you see in an email, and you're like, I don't know what that is, sometimes that can be kind of hard to decide to try it out. So anyways, Westward Journey is a perfect piece. You'll notice that we're all playing the same notes, but it's a little bit more of a challenging piece for a beginning player, and this is a great representation of something that might work for a solo ensemble. Okay, and that was First Finger Rock. We're heading into our ensemble pieces, which next year in 7th grade you'll hear basically mainly these for our concerts and performance concerts during the year. These are pieces which you can already tell. There's different parts for each instrument, and so it gets a little bit more complicated, and everybody has a specific role, and this is where we form the orchestra. And we have these different roles and different jobs in the ensemble. And we introduce concepts such as dynamics and different tempo markings, stylistic markings like staccato and legato. And it's just, we start just really getting into the fantastic world of music. In fact, we are very fortunate to have orchestra and strings as a part of our district here in Oxford. They're in Oakland County. In our region, I'll say this, in our region, in our vicinity of Oakland County, I think orchestra string programs are a little bit more rare than not. So we are lucky to have it in our schools. And so anyways, here our next piece is Samba La Bamba. And after that, we will play a very intense piece called Impulse. Okay, so our next piece is one that I like to do every year because it is a lot of fun. It's called Pepperoni Pizza Rock, and it sounds like the name, so I'll just give that little hint you can listen for. In the middle of this piece, we are featuring there's a solo, sort of a break for solos, as you would say in music. And so right in the middle, there's an opportunity where the orchestra kind of plays an accompaniment passage, and then we can have some cool people do some solos on top of that ostinato and that repeating pattern. So there's a number of us. I didn't count actually, but we have a good group. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we have 10 solos. So you'll see that happening, and one by one they'll play about 8 bars of solo music, and then we'll just continue on and finish off the piece. So this is something I like also because it has the solos, and we work on some improvisation, which is where you start practicing coming up with your own music on the spot. And it's just, there's no mistakes really because you're creating it from nothing. And so that's kind of what students have done in preparation for their pepperoni pizza moment in the middle. And so everybody had a hand and tried these solos. And so I want to congratulate them for doing an awesome job, for going for it and being courageous. Before we finish up with this last piece, I definitely want to say I am so proud of everybody on stage. Like I mentioned earlier, these string instruments are very difficult to manage, especially in the beginning years. And to come to a place like they are today on stage, and to sound like they sound, and to have some of the really starting to form really nice habits with their technique, it takes a lot. These string instruments, the technique just develops and evolves as time goes on. And the beginning years really can be frustrating, but as you get those kid habits and they sort of become second nature, and you constantly evolve and correct them, you get more comfortable and you can play a little bit more difficult repertoire in music, and everything becomes accessible to you. So anyways, they're at a fantastic place. Would you agree, audience? I think they're doing fantastic. And it really is consistent. It's hard work from the very first day, and because it is so detail oriented, everything builds on everything else. And so it's that daily drive, and they have done a phenomenal job. Just working daily, week in, week out, month in, month out, and this is a fantastic achievement, I think, for the end of the year. So let's play our last tune. And then I just have one more thing before we leave after that, okay? So thank you very much. Here is Pepperoni Pizza Rock. So just to finish off here tonight, we do a yearly OMS Middle School Orchestra meetup in the summer. It's happening the last Wednesday of July, July 30th. We just meet over at Frosty Boy. Sometimes students will bring their instruments just to get tuned or looked at if there's something going on. Sometimes in the year, sometimes kids will kind of play, but that's up to the kids. I'm there to just have some treats and see and check in on people. So please come to that, and that's a great thing, just right smack dab in the middle of the summer, just to connect with buddies and friends from school again. And after that, super lucky. I feel super lucky and fortunate to have worked with your children this year for orchestra. I had an absolute pleasure and so proud of them and thankful for all of you guys out there in the audience, because it takes the family support to make everything happen, and I understand that. So thank you very much. I will also be playing at 8 p.m. I'm going to be doing a recital right here. If you do stick around, a violin recital. So, anyways, have a great summer. Thanks again, and take care.